Hi guys, Hamster here. I got another video for you. We're looking at the Leupold mk4 LRT tactical scope. This is a long-range tactical scope. A tactical scope is a little different than a traditional precision scope. A typical tactical scope are going to be set up, especially in elevation here, are going to be usually set up in 1 MOA, where more precision scopes are going to be quarter MOA adjustment or less. They're set up for two different jobs. One set up for precision fire at a known distance, the same distance every time. A tactical scope is not going to be as precise, but it's going to be able to get you on target, and it's going to be able to do it quickly, and it's going to be able to do it at varying ranges very quickly, engaging different targets, different ranges quickly. Two different scopes. First thing you need to decide when you're looking for a scope, what do I want this scope to do? Do I want it to be precision to where I can make minor adjustments and change the impact of that bullet by 1/8 of an inch? Or do I want one that has quicker adjustments, a little more coarse, but I can hit the target, and I can hit different targets at different distances very quickly? Both scopes do two different jobs. They both do their jobs well, but they don't interchange with each other. Some features of this scope. This has a 30mm main tube, which gives it a lot of strength, but also the reason for the 30mm main tube is to give you more room for adjustment on MOA. This particular model has 65 MOA on windage and elevation, enough to get you out to 1,000 yards easy. This particular one is mounted on a canted 20 MOA base just to be safe, but I think with just a straight flat base, you'd still be able to get to 1,000 yards. Some features on this scope. It's got a 40mm objective on the front. It's a variable power, 3.5 to 10. It's also an illuminated reticle. This has the Leupold, what they call the TMR reticle. It's basically a very fine precision lines. It's marked at 1 mil and 1/2 mil increments, and on the outer bands of the thing, it's also marked at 1/4 mil. So if you're new to milling targets, this is much easier to learn how to mill a target over the football style or round dot style mill dots. This will help you learn much quicker and much more accurately, I think, mill out a target and measure it. Also, this scope is in the second focal plane, which means the reticle doesn't change size. Whatever you're looking at, if you adjust the power ring, that object changes size, but the reticle doesn't. So you got to remember that when you're milling targets, it needs to be on 10 power. There are some other tricks where you can range targets, but if you're going to mill that target, it needs to be on 10 power. On the illuminations, this particular one has 11 illuminations. I think if you get a new one, they've made a few updates on it. The first 4 or 5 settings you virtually can't see. Those are pretty much for night vision settings. The rest of the settings will illuminate it, and you can see during the daytime if the light's low. If it's in bright light though, it'll wash it out and it will just look black. This is mainly for low light and nighttime and night vision compatible. The scope itself is about 13.5 inches long. That's not counting if you run the ARD. I'm running the ARD on this, the anti-reflection device, which I got the mk4 device. The scope is threaded for that, and that anti-reflection device screws right in there beautifully. It has about 3.5 inches of eye relief. This is a side focus model, so it does have side focus. You can see here from the back, you have your side focus, which is good from like 75 yards to infinity. And then you have your elevation, you have your windage. These have the M2 knobs. Now what are the M2 knobs? Well, Leupold has 3 different knobs. They have M1, M2, M3. M1 are your more precision knobs, which will be 1/4 MOA adjustments, which is like 1/4 inch at 100 yards. The M2 knobs are 1/2 inch MOA. So this is adjusted bullet impact 1/2 inch at 100 yards. And your M3 knobs move 1 inch. There's 1 MOA adjustment, so you move 1 inch at 100 yards. Most the tactical ones will have 1/2 inch MOA windage, but a lot of them will have 1 MOA on elevation. That gives you a little cruder adjustment, but it allows you to change distance rapidly. This kind of cuts the best of both. This gives me rapid adjustment with a little bit more precision. This one has a BDC built in, calibrated. I can go from 100 to 800 yards in one turn of the turret. This has 30 MOA of elevation in one turn, excuse me. But it's calibrated to go out to 1,000 yards. So if I go about a turn and a half, I can go out to 1,000 yards. One turn, I can go from 100 to 800. It's real easy to turn this and go to whatever setting I need in distance, whether it's a 600 yard, a 200, 150. It's really quick because this is calibrated specifically for. Let me show you this ammunition. This scope came with that turret calibrated for the Federal Gold Medal Match, 168 grain gold medal match bullet. This scope is calibrated precisely to this round. If you shoot this round, the BDC on this turret is set up for it perfectly. Okay, if you don't shoot that, you can get it calibrated for other ammo. If you shoot the 300 Win Mag, maybe you shoot the 175 grain, you provide the information to them, they can calibrate a turret for you. Because these turrets, once you sight it in and get it set dead on at 100 yards, you loosen the 3 Allen screws, you reset these to 0, and now you're ready to go on your elevation and your windage. So, but it uses a single battery right here in the Illumination where you have the adjustables. There's a single battery goes in there. It's like a DL1/3N. I don't know how long it lasts. It's gonna vary based on the brightness setting you use it at. I mean, if you leave it on, it will stay on and run the battery dead. It won't shut itself off like some of the other scopes will after so many hours. It will stay on until the battery's dead. Excuse me. So just keep that in mind. The brighter the setting, probably the shorter battery life. I haven't figured out how long the battery uses because I haven't done that much nighttime shooting yet. So it will be an experience to see how long that battery lasts. But during the daytime, even turned on, bright light, you're not going to see it. Low light or night, it illuminates red, night vision compatible, beautiful. The quality of the glass, I can't speak. This is exceptionally good quality. If you're looking for an entry-level tactical scope, and I consider this an entry-level tactical scope. I mean, if you look at the Smith & Benders and the Night Force, the price really gets up there. If you want a tactical scope, I think this is about the minimum that you need to go. It gives you the side focus, the built-in BDC. It has the quality to get the job done. And so that's it. It's a Leupold mk4 LRT long-range tactical with the M2 dials. This is the only model they make that comes standard in the dark earth color. And I believe this is also the scope used by the Army on their M110 semi-automatic sniper system. This is the one they're using on that particular system right now. It's a fantastic scope. Yeah, I know you guys are going to look at the price. It's still in the kind of expensive range, but when you look at tactical scopes, this is more down in the low end of tactical scopes. This gets you in the door into tactical scopes. But just remember, there's a difference between tactical scopes and precision scopes. If you want to go different distances quickly, this will do it in one turn. You won't get lost on your turret. If you go with the M3 dials, it's even easier. It's one turn from 100 yards to 1,000 yards, but it's going to be 1 MOA adjustment. This is half MOA. You start going with a quarter MOA scope, you're going to be making 5 or 6 turns. And then going out to an 800 yard target, coming back to a 200 yard target, you're going to have to count those turns. It's real easy to get screwed up. And then you won't know where 0 is, and pretty soon you won't be able to hit anything because you've lost track on how many turns you've made on that turret. These make it much simpler and much easier. And then this being precisionally calibrated for the Federal Gold Medal Match ammo, this scope, this ammo, and a decent rifle, wow, it's an amazing package. So if you're thinking about an entry-level tactical scope, take a look at the Leupold mk4s. Great scope. Thanks for watching.